I'm Patty. I'm MAJ Cruz from OCAR. I'm one of the RSOs, and I just came on to let you know some important information about your retirement. So the first question I'm going to address is, what is the minimum number of points for a good year, and where do I find my points? So in the reserve component, you need to have at least 50 points every year for your creditable year. And your AYE, or your anniversary year ending, is different from everybody else's. So it doesn't fall in line with the FY. So it's going to be very dependent on when you signed your contract. And it'll just stay the same the entire time that you're in your service, unless you have a break in service. And if you do have a break in service of more than 24 hours, that will change. Now, where do you find your points? So for Army Reserve, you're going to find it on your record portal, and it's the DA 5016. If you're in the GARD, you'll find it in the NGB 23 Bravo, which is your RPAM statement. And it'll break it down by AYE. And you'll also know that you got credit for a good year, because on one of the columns, it actually says 1 year on there. And then it'll total at the very bottom how many credible years of service you have. Now, this gets published every year on your AYE, so it might not account for the points that you are currently earning for that current year. Okay. So the next question is, where do I start my application process for retirement pay? But before I answer that question, I want you to understand that first you have to either transfer to a retired reserve or discharge. So you decide, I've gotten my 20-year letter or my 15-year letter, and I've earned a non-regular retirement. Now I'm ready to hang up the uniform. So that is a completely separate application process that you will go through your HR professional within your unit to complete. Once that goes through the process, and that's typically a 9-month process for the Army Reserve, you will get an order transferring you into the retired reserve or a discharge, depending on what you decide to do. Then you're in the gray area. So what do you do now? Do you kind of wait for a little while? And then once you get closer to your retirement age, so for most people, it'll be age 60. And for those of you who had served on active duty in a deployment setting or an ADOS order, so there's very specific authorities that will allow you to have an early age drop. And that could be as early as age 50, depending on how much time is creditable for you. So that would be active duty served on or after 29 January 2008. And HRC will be the final authority on what years or what time frame was creditable for you. But let's say you estimate you had 5 years of an early age drop, then you're going to go ahead and complete your retired pay application, submit that to HRC 9 months prior to that date. If it's age 60, start completing it when you're age 59 and submit that 9 months ahead of time. And so the first place that I would go to, if you haven't already, is talk to your RSO. They can provide you with a lot of information on how to start your application, where to find those resources. But if you want to do it on your own, you can go to the HRC Gray Area Retirements Branch website, and they will have a link to their checklist and the application itself, as well as a DD Form 2656, which is going to be part of that application. Now, how long does it take to process my application? So you'll submit that to HRC, and it will take about 9 months to get everything processed. Currently, there is a backlog, so expect that you're going to wait after your retirement eligibility date to start receiving your check. However, it will be backdated. So let's say I turn 60 tomorrow, but my application doesn't get processed and sent to DFAS until 2 months from now. I'm still going to get the back pay to tomorrow. So you won't lose any money, just going to have a delay on when that check will start. Once it gets to DFAS, it'll take roughly 30 to 45 days, depending on how their processing is going. Yeah, so when DFAS, when HRC completes processing your packet and they forward it to DFAS, they're also going to publish a transfer to the Army retired list. And so you are going to receive that order, and that's the same order you're going to take to DEERS to get your new ID card, and also give you the eligibility for TRICARE Select if it's at age 60. If you say retirement, you won't be eligible for TRICARE Select until age 60. So you receive that from HRC, and then as far as how much your first check is going to be, it just depends on your points, your grade, and which pay system you're in. And you can use the My Army Benefits calculator to figure that out. You can use a DS logon so that it pulls your information from your record already, or you can manually type in that information. If you haven't already, attend a retirement briefing, and then the Soldier for Life Army Retirements page has a lot of information, and change your contact information so that on all the systems, so that we can stay in contact with you to provide you some of the latest information as laws and regulations change.